can put it there. You good? Well, I was just really proud of the team. Really, the way they responded to the adversity of last week and losing a disappointing game in overtime on the road. And those are heartbreakers, and you're always anxious to see how guys are going to respond. And they responded well. I could tell immediately when they came back on Monday that they were refocused, that they'd been able to put it behind them. And then I saw them apply the lessons during the week, the things that we said we needed to improve on. And I think you saw it today. I thought we played a good game today. I thought it was all three phases contributed. There's things, obviously, we have to continue to work to clean up. I think it's important we continue to work harder on our tackling and our angles in the open field. But we saw improvement defensively. We were consistent on offense. You know, Skyler once again had a big game. Joe reached 10,000 yards career passing. We were able to get some young guys in there. We were able to get Meach in there. You know, now that we only have 4 games left, he can play and not burn his red shirt. We did some different things in the run game with the Wildcat, with Terrence. So just trying to continue to open up our playbook and stay unpredictable and play with consistency. And so that's the goal. And like I said, I was just proud of them. You know, I thought that they showed real maturity during the week.
Jim, I know win number 6 is kind of the first step, but how do you guys react, respond to it? Do you celebrate it, or is it more like, hey, it's business as usual, we got the 6, now we got to get a 7?
It's got to be business as usual. You know, I mean, listen, we're bowl eligible for the 3rd time in 4 years, which I don't know how long it's been since that's happened around here. So everyone's, you know, that's in the, long time. So that's in the back of everyone's mind, but I think our goals are larger than that. And so there's no satisfaction. Yeah, they're happy. And we talked about that in the locker room, is how do we handle it when everyone's patting you on the back? And we have to just stay focused. We obviously have a huge game coming up on Saturday against an ACC opponent in Duke. They beat us twice since we've been here. And so I don't think it's going to be hard to get our guys focused on the task at hand. So we just have to have a great week of practice and not think about any of the stuff that's happening out there. Just stay focused on what we need to do.
You talked about 3 interceptions today. 3 interceptions today. He's been targeted on some big plays throughout the year. How's he come along?
It's just his. He works really hard in practice. I mean, he really works hard. He's very conscientious. Sometimes he's conscientious to a fault. As a corner, you have to have some athletic arrogance too. You know, you have to be able to forget things quickly because you're going to get beat. And I think that he's finally found that sweet spot where he can play with a lot of confidence and still be very conscientious of the way he's playing. And he's constantly catching the ball in practice, you know, trying to intercept the ball. He doesn't take anything for granted, and I think you're seeing that work pay off. You know, people, I think they're attacking him less and less because he's become a much more consistent player for us, and I'm really happy for him. You know, I kind of wish he'd knocked that last one down because it was a 4th down play. But you know what? We're gonna take it. We're gonna take that as a 3rd interception. And he had a sack, as I'm told too. So 3 interceptions and a sack for a corner, that's not a bad day.
Coach, staying on the defensive side, you guys gave up 300 rushing yards last week, and definitely not today. So what was the message throughout the week about preparing and just shaking off a performance like that last week?
It was all about how we enter the play with the proper leverage and then tackling. You know, not leaving our feet, running through people, gang tackling, swarming to the football, you know, getting 11 hats there every play. And there were still some plays out there where we didn't tackle as well as we need to tackle. So we have to just keep working on that. And it's fun to work with a group that's really conscientious, that cares. You know, when you tell them, hey, these are the areas we have to improve. These are the drills we're going to do to improve it. We have to emphasize it. We have to really work on it. It has to be a point of focus. And when you see them really accept that and embrace it, it's fun to coach guys like that.
Coach, can you talk about Terrence Smith's growth since the beginning of the year, especially with how you've been using him so far?
Just trying to expand his role every week. You know, he's got speed. He's elusive. You saw some plays in there where he can dart and make some plays. He's got good hands. We use him as a running back. We use him as a receiver, try to put him in spots where they have to try to find him. We don't want to get predictable when he's in the game and always make sure that, you know, or make sure that he's not always the target. But he's a young player that now has an accumulation of plays. He understands our offense better, and he's more confident. you know, so we can continue to work him into different situations because he's handling the mental load very, very well. Yes, sir.
I know you take this victory, but you also look at some of the issues. Not to be negative, but look at like UAB did score 2 touchdowns in the fourth. How much was that? Maybe you guys were just playing a little, maybe too soft zone, or was it maybe UAB part of it was their fight, or both?
It was tackling. You know, we didn't change the way we were playing. We weren't playing in these softer zones. We were still coming after them. Part of it was we couldn't get to the, you know, we were making the quarterback run around, but we couldn't get him on the grass. So we didn't change our style. I think it just goes back to being disciplined and tackling. You know, tackling, like having the proper entry on the ball and knowing where your help is. And you constantly got to do that. And sometimes, you know, guys get so excited to go make a play, they over pursue, and it leaves yourself open to that. But it's not acceptable, and we all understand that, and we're going to continue to work real hard on it.
Coach, as Joe Fagnano keeps climbing up his numbers and playing as well as he has, with all your NFL connections, are you getting calls or people asking you about him? And now that he's making noise nationally, people are kind of getting aware of his game?
I haven't had any calls, but we have scouts at every practice. I mean, we haven't had a practice in weeks where there hasn't been at least one or maybe several NFL scouts there. I think they're there obviously to see Skyler, and now they're there to see Joe. I think the things that he's doing, the consistency he's playing with, the accuracy with which he's throwing the ball, the decision making that he's exhibiting. Look, he's a good football player, you know, and I think that it's only a matter of time before the nation recognizes some of the great things that he's doing. It's rare, very rare.
Coach, what was the thought process for going for it on 4th and 6?
Okay, well, I was hoping you wouldn't ask that. I don't think it was a very good decision. I was concerned with the wind. I had told Gordy if we could get it within 5, we'd go for it. It was 6. I thought maybe let's try to capture momentum. You know, the field goal, I'm confident that Chris would have punched it through, but that wind was so unpredictable, you know, and he had told me that he was good from 27 and we were at 21 or 22. And I just felt like, you know, let's just try to get the first down. Let's just see if we can get the first down. And I knew that if he missed it, at least we had him backed up. You know, it wasn't like, you know, the 35-yard line where they're going to take over. So that was the decision there. And it wasn't a good decision. Should have kicked the field goal.
Coach, I mean, Joe Fagnano, 10,000 career passing yards. Can you just talk about how he's grown since he's gotten here?
His personalities remain static. It's the same. I mean, he's even keeled. He's low key. He's got a calm, cool, collected demeanor, and yet he's got a real burning desire to be a great player. He's got a real intensity to him. He doesn't say a lot, but when he does, people listen to him because he has credibility. He's become really comfortable in this offense, and he's always been a really good decision maker, but he's taken that to a new level. You know, the number one trait you're looking for in a quarterback is a guy that can make decisions with the football in his hand that are going to help his football team and not hurt his football team. And I think when you look at Joe's numbers, whether it's his completion percentage or his interception touchdown ratio, or even some of the times when he takes off and runs with it, you're seeing a guy that's making really good decisions with the ball in his hands, and that's what your quarterback has to do. And you know, it's really fun to be a part of seeing a young guy, or he's still young. He's in year 7, but he's still young. Just kind of, you know, the growth that he's making, and you know, see him realize success when he's had a long, hard road.
It looked like Cam was having a little more success in the beginning of the game. How much does the pass game help you kind of preserve him later in the game?
I think it helps. I think that having success in the pass game helped us today run the ball early, and we want to run the ball, and we're not going to get stubborn. But, you know, they were playing maybe a little bit more coverage philosophy than run-stop philosophy early. And then when Cam, you know, hammers it up in there and makes some yards, and maybe they have to change their philosophy and say, we got to play a little bit more run. And then, you know, that's the opportunity to throw it. And we've talked about balance in the past. You know, balance isn't an equal number. It's just when, you know, it's time to run it, you have the ability to run it. When the situation calls for you to throw it, you have the ability to throw it. And so I like where we're at offensively with regards to that.
About Skyler, but just what he was able to do today, 3 touchdowns. He had that jump ball for his second one. Does he just keep
And
showing you?
he's disappointed because he didn't have 4, because we all saw the one that, slipped through his hands, which doesn't happen very much. But he had 8 catches, 149 yards, 3 touchdowns, 68 yards after the catch. That's pretty impressive. So he gets open. Doesn't matter if people double him or not. He gets open. Joe has a lot of confidence in him. Certainly it starts with our offensive line giving great protection, and Sky catching the ball consistently. It's just he's having one of those years, and he's got to keep doing it.
Jim, Snyder is continuing to be a central part of things now more and more. What are you learning about the ways he can be used?
John?
Yeah.
Well, he catches everything. He came here as you guys know, he's a high school quarterback. And his freshman year, he just was tearing up the scout team defense as a receiver because he was a big athletic guy. And so I think at times, maybe because he was a walk-on, your tendency is to maybe put some limitations on him, in your own mind as a coach. But you have to remove that from your mind, and you can't put limitations on him, and we haven't. And so, you're seeing him catch quick screens and make yards doing that. And it's interesting because when we called that quick screen on 3rd down on our sideline when John got the 1st down, well, that's a Skylar play. And Gordy says, hey, is Sky in there? And Kashif says, no, it's John, but we're good. And so you like that. You like that when your coaches feel that way about players. So John, I think that we're seeing just the beginning of what he's going to become as a receiver. He had 5 catches for 55 yards. He's one of those guys that Joe has great confidence in.
Where are you health-wise on defense? I think it was Steph that went down, and Ben Smiley, and Taekwon. I don't think we've seen Taekwon in a couple weeks.
And Taekwon's been playing on special teams. Ben, I haven't gotten the injury report yet. But it was I think it's like a stinger kind of thing. When I went over there, he was in pain, but it wasn't anything that he wasn't able to manage. Like, he was lucid and he was talking about what hurt. Cam Chadwick came back in. He should be okay. Steph, I think he's okay. Vincent Jackson is dealing with a little turf toe. Steph's dealing with a little turf toe. So Vincent, he gave us some snaps, but he wasn't 100%. So I think those guys will get better through this week. But I think we came out of the game relatively healthy, considering, football is a violent sport.
Moving Taekwon to special teams, was there what went into
Well,
that?
I mean, it's hard to take Brian Parham off the field. He's one of the leading sackers in the country. He's one of the leading tackle for loss guys in the country. He makes plays all over the field. Umar's playing really, really well. Amir's playing well when we put him in. And so it's just, there's only so many snaps in a game. And fortunately for us, he's a guy that's kind of accepted the role, knowing that it can change in an instant, and he stays ready. So, but that's the only reason. He's always been on special teams for us. He's just not getting the snaps on defense right now. But that doesn't mean he won't, because he's certainly capable. We have depth in that room. We're lucky.
Something you've harped on all year is the 2-minute defense. What are your thoughts on that today?
We didn't really get in a 2-minute situation. Like, they weren't in a 2-minute mode at the end of the half and in the game. And they were moving the ball, and there was 2 minutes on the clock, but it wasn't like a hurry up deal. But it's still not good enough. Now, I thought that getting that 4th down stop at the end of the first half, that was really important for us to go in the locker room with 0. After the UAB, that really was, I think, something that gave us some motivation. It gave us energy for sure. We came in the locker room pretty energized. But it's something and we work hard. We do 2-minute twice a week, and it's competitive. It's first ones-on-ones. So we just got to keep working on it, and we will, and we'll get better and get more consistent and more confident in that. But still, I think a lot of it comes down to, like, tackling. We got to tackle better, and we will. Anything else? Okay, thanks.